I was told that the dominant reading of this movie is that of Amelia, a widow haunted figuratively and literally by the grief of losing her husband in a car crash on the very day she gave birth to her son. A strange children's book titled Mister Babadook appears in her home. Her son starts seeing the shadowy figure, things unravel, and the monster becomes real. So when I finally got the time, I expected a horror story. Maybe about a haunted house, maybe a mother's slow unraveling, a metaphor for grief, as they said. And yes, grief is here, but something else kept tugging at me. A discomfort. I felt a symbolic density. It wasn't just the jarring edits or the awkward cuts, which by the way I think are a genuine flaw. It was something deeper. The feeling that these people were not just characters, that all this wasn't just a story, that Amelia, Samuel, the Babadook weren't people at all. And the dry, Hamilton, almost colorless color code of the movie forced me to where I started to wonder if this film is not about a haunted house, but about the haunted architecture of the self. A psychic stage, a metaphysical theater, a soul trying not to split. Let's suspend what we think we know. What if the house was not a house? What if the child is not a child? What if the Babadook is not a monster? What if everything, every scream, every hallucination, every warm fade to the darkness is a symbolic ritual unfolding inside one mind? In this reading, the house is a psyche, a structure trying to hold its shape under unbearable pressure, and Amelia is the ego, fraying at the edges. Samuel is the magical child, and the Babadook is the unacknowledged shadow, trauma giving monstrous form. So this movie is more than a haunted house story. This is a soul map, a mythic confrontation, a woman descending into the basement of herself and trying to come back alive. Before the climax, I was so annoyed by the Samuel character. It is the best child actor I have seen in years. Samuel is wild, he screams, he sees things no one else does. He builds weapons, he practices magic. He also loves his mother fiercely even as she pulls away. I don't think Samuel is just a child. I believe he is a psychic force. In Jungian terms, he is a magical child. Instinct, imagination, raw emotional truth. He sees everything he feels. He sees what the adult self refuses to acknowledge.
See Daddy though, haven't we?
My dad's in the cemetery.
Oh, that's...
He got killed driving Mum to the hospital to have me.
Samuel? I'm sorry, Danny. Oh, no. 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 Give it to me!
Do you want to die?
He doesn't argue with pain. He confronts it through play, through chaos, through love. Samuel represents the psychic's unfiltered perception, the unrepressed self, the part that can't lie, the one that demands confrontation no matter how painful. He says everything he feels. He misses his father. He wants to protect his mother. He screams when something is wrong.
I'm gonna trust the Babadook like this.
He's obsessed with magic, and that matters. Magic is about working with unseen forces, naming, binding, transforming them. Samuel's magic is not illusion, it's intuitive power. And when his mother is fully possessed, it's Samuel who performs the exorcism. He ties her down, stares into her hollowed-out face and says,
I know you don't love me. The Babadook won't let you. But I love you, Mum. And I always will.
And that's not a line from a 6-year-old. That's a line from the part of the psyche that refuses to die, that holds on to love, that survives the darkness, even when the self has been taken over by it. Amelia is damp, she's grey, she's withering, she's the ego, the conscious, rational, mediating self that is trying to survive grief it cannot process. In psychoanalytic terms, she's repression incarnate. But repression is never neutral. When you bury the truth, the burial site becomes haunted. Her child is too loud, too emotional, too alive, And that's unbearable because it threatens the structure she's built to keep the pain away. When the Babadook possesses her, it's less of an invasion and more of a collapse. It is the dam breaking, the shadow, grief, rage, guilt flooding in. In fact, I don't think the Babadook possessed her as in a taking over. The Babadook didn't enter her. It emerges from within. Amelia is a site where all these forces collide. The force of raw emotion, that is Samuel, the force of buried trauma, that is the Babadook, and the fragile self that tries to manage both. But here is a crucial point. She comes back. When she screams,
You're nothing! This is my house! You are trespassing in my house!
it's not just directed at the monster, it is the psyche fighting for its own boundaries. The ego reclaiming space from the shadow. And in the end, she doesn't destroy the monster. She feeds it. She gives it a room. Now we arrive at him, the Babadook, a top-hearted figure that crawls out of a children's book that mimics the voice of Amelia's dead husband that causes hallucination, violence, and murder. Most reviews say that the Babadook is a metaphor for grief, but that's too soft. That's too narrow, I think. The Babadook is not just grief, it is what grief becomes when unacknowledged. It is the form pain takes when denied symbolic meaning. It is the Lacanian real that resists symbolization to expose the psychic's fault lines, the part of the human experience that language fails to hold. He arrives through a book. Yes, of course, but he also flickers on the TV, he seeps into speech, he morphs into a dead husband's face. He is protean, he is semiotic overflow. The more Amelia denies it, the more powerful it becomes, and yet it is not defeated. It's domesticated. It is banished to the basement, it is fed worms, kept in the shadows, but acknowledged, ritually. The lesson here is to show healing through integration and not eradication. You don't get rid of the Babadook. You incorporate it, you give it a place, you descend into the basement of your own soul and you feed the darkness a bowl of worms. Not as a gesture of defeat, but of respect. So in the movie, we have three forces and one mind. The psychic triad, a child that sees, a mother trying not to feel, and a monster born of silence. I don't think it's a story of good versus evil, I think it's a dance of forces. And the movie doesn't end in triumph, it ends in balance. So what do we make of the final scene? A woman walks into the basement, the monster snarls, she places a bowl of worms on the ground, it retreats, she exhales. It stops being a horror at this moment, it becomes ritual. Because worms are decomposers. They're symbols of transformation. Amelia doesn't destroy the Babadook. She feeds it what it needs. She makes space for it. And I think this is the deepest message of the entire movie. You don't slay the shadow. You acknowledge it. You make it a room in your house and you feed it gently so it won't devour you whole. Grief doesn't vanish. Trauma doesn't fade away. The real cannot be deleted. But it can be given structure, it can be placed somewhere ritually, lovingly, even if it growls, even if it bites. And in doing so, the psyche restores its balance. The ego stands again, and the child, your inner child, plays again.